Wow, AI and robotics this past year.
It's been unbelievable.
It's like we're living in a sci-fi movie, right? And you know what's even cooler? We have this awesome mix of stuff to dive into. We've got YouTube videos and articles and even company announcements. So
Yeah.
we're talking about robots that can draw and robots that can go to space and even some that maybe can read minds.
Yeah.
I mean, are you ready for this? Because I am so pumped.
Well, let's unpack it.
Okay, let's start with these humanoid robots that are, I mean, they're not just mimicking us anymore. They're doing some crazy stuff. So
Yeah.
we've got Ameca from Engineered Arts and Neo from OpenAI and 1X. Ameca is so lifelike. Have you seen the expressions on that thing?
Oh, yeah.
It's insane.
It's incredible.
And it can draw based on what you tell it or even just random data. I was blown away when I first saw that.
It's using some really interesting AI technique to be creative, though. Like, it's not just drawing randomly. It's using something called GANs. Yeah, generative adversarial networks and style transfer algorithms and even something called inverse kinematics, all to put the image onto paper.
So it's learning to be an artist, not just copying.
Exactly.
Okay, so, but then you've got Neo, which is totally different, right? Like, it's not physically drawing, it's actually generating code to create art.
Yeah.
So it's like a programmer robot. That's next level.
It is. And OpenAI sees Neo as a stepping stone to AGI, artificial general intelligence.
Yeah.
This is the idea that AI will be able to perform any task that a human can.
I mean, that is
Ambitious.
that's incredibly exciting and also kind of terrifying when you think about all the implications of that. Like, these robots could be huge in, healthcare and education, maybe even just keeping people company. But then there's the question of, like, what happens to jobs? What happens to
all the ethical stuff.
Yeah, all the ethical considerations when AI gets that smart.
Yeah, lots of questions, but lots of possibilities too.
Lots of possibilities for sure. Okay, so shifting gears a bit, we have to talk about what's happening in China. It's like they're having their own little AI explosion going on over there. There's this company called EX Robots, and they're making robots that can mimic human expressions and emotions in real time. Perfectly. Like, perfectly. It's a little bit creepy.
The tech behind that is actually really interesting. So they're using these tiny movable electric units on the robot's face to basically act like muscles. And then there's this whole system that generates expressions based on, like, predefined scenarios, or it can look at a human's face and generate the expressions based on that data.
Yeah, I saw that video where the CEO was, like, making faces at the robot and it was just copying him exactly.
Wild.
But these robots aren't just making faces. They're doing some pretty impressive stuff. I saw one making latte art.
Really?
And another one, like, playing basketball. Come on, robot basketball.
That's all part of their big plan, though, right? They want to create an entire ecosystem of robots that's integrated into every sector. Like, you're talking manufacturing and services, education, healthcare, entertainment. It's a huge undertaking.
I mean, it's amazing and also kind of scary when you think about it, the scale of it and what it could mean for, like, us, like, living and working with
robots.
Belongs to robots all the time. Okay, so remember Ameca, the artist robot?
Yeah.
Well, Ameca also gave some predictions about the future, and
Interesting.
they were surprisingly optimistic. Like, it's not all doom and gloom.
That's good.
Yeah, so Ameca's AI system, it's based on something called generative models. It's similar to the tech behind ChatGPT, and it lets it understand language, control its expressions, even pause before answering questions. Like, it's thinking. I know, it's wild. So it talked about, like, sustainable living, tech making life easier, even the possibility of space travel. And get this, it thinks that humans and robots will be living together peacefully, maybe even robots having rights. I know, it's crazy.
It's important to remember that Ameca is just processing information.
Right.
It's not actually feeling those emotions, but it's,
Right, it's designed to seem
human.
I
think that's what sparks those conversations about what even is consciousness.
Totally.
What does the future of AI look like?
It seems like people are either totally on board with Ameca's vision, or they're like, that's creepy, get it away from me.
Yeah, get it away.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think about where this is all going. Okay, speaking of the future, get ready for this. Leica, an AI robot dog, is going to space.
Wow.
And it's not just like some clunky machine. This thing is designed to be an astronaut's best friend.
Oh,
They're making it so lifelike. It's got 3D printing, soft materials. They even gave it fur. I know. So
it's cute.
yeah, it's super cute. So it's got this like titanium skeleton, so it's strong. It's got advanced joints, so it moves naturally. And then it's just packed with sensors. Depth cameras, thermal imaging, microphones, speakers, even touch sensors.
So this thing can actually interact with its environment and humans on a whole other level.
It's like a super high-tech, cuddly Swiss Army knife for astronauts.
I love that.
I know, right? So it can monitor the astronauts' health, keep them company, even help with tasks like scouting and carrying equipment. Straight out of a movie, right?
Yeah.
And one of the coolest things is that it's designed to work with these like mixed reality glasses.
Oh, really?
So astronauts can see holograms and virtual images right on top of the real world.
Oh, wow.
So it's really enhancing the way they can interact, right?
Yeah.
And I bet like all this technology, it's going to trickle down to us here on Earth, you know, like disaster relief, search and rescue, maybe even therapy dogs. So, okay, enough about space pups for now. Let's switch gears to Tesla. Tesla just came out with their latest Optimus Gen 2 robot. They've made some serious upgrades from the first version.
Yeah, the first one was definitely more prototype, and now we're seeing things like near human hand movements, much lighter design. It can walk faster. They've added custom actuators and sensors to make it even more capable.
You know, those hands?
I know, right?
They have 11 degrees of freedom.
Amazing.
And they've got this like special skin on the hand so it can actually feel pressure, temperature, humidity, even vibrations.
Wow.
That's crazy. I mean, think about the dexterity, right? Like Optimus could be working in manufacturing, construction, maybe even helping out with chores around the house.
Yeah, who knows?
It's crazy to think about.
The progress they've made in just a few years is mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing.
Really shows you how fast things are moving in robotics.
So next up, we've got to talk about covariant. They're like really pushing the boundaries with AI. They're creating robots that learn and adapt, kind of like ChatGPT, but in the real world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're using AI similar to ChatGPT, but they're also combining that with data from cameras and sensors in the robot. So it's not just understanding language, it's understanding the environment as well.
Yeah, they showed a robot that could pick out a banana just by listening to instructions.
Really?
Yeah, that's insane.
That is wild.
Yeah.
That's a big step towards creating robots that are truly intelligent and can handle the real world, right? Like all the unpredictable stuff.
Yeah.
Covariant is thinking big. They're talking about using this in factories, warehouses, maybe even self-driving cars one day.
Whoa.
Yes.
It makes you think about that line between the digital world and the physical world, you know? What happens when that starts to
blur.
To blur, exactly. Okay, get ready for this one. We're going into science fiction territory now.
Oh, Neuralink.
Brain-computer interfaces. Like, connecting our brains to computers. Sounds crazy, but they're making breakthroughs.
I know.
Remember Nolan Arbaugh?
Yeah.
Paralyzed after a diving accident, thanks to Neuralink. He's playing chess online, just using his thoughts to control the computer.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is that?
So the Neuralink device actually allows him to bypass those traditional interfaces.
Right.
So he doesn't need a mouse, a keyboard. He's literally thinking his moves. And he's been playing his favorite video game for hours on end with this implant.
I mean, talk about inspiring. This technology could give people back abilities they thought they'd lost forever.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. But of course, it's still early days, right? I mean, there are a lot of
challenges.
Ethical considerations.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. There's been a lot of talk about the FDA and animal testing, and the whole idea of like brain implants is kind of freaky.
Yeah.
But you can't deny that it has the potential to be life-changing for people.
Okay, let's go back to robots, back to Boston Dynamics. Remember Atlas, their famous humanoid robot?
Yeah.
Well, they just unveiled a brand new version. All electric, sleeker than ever.
Oh, yeah.
The old Atlas ran on hydraulics.
Right, which is quite noisy.
Yeah, it's loud.
This new one is all electric, so it's much quieter.
So stealthy now.
Yeah, and they've completely redesigned it. It's got this streamlined frame. It looks a lot softer.
I mean, it's such a change from that, like, kind of intimidating, bulky, old one.
Yeah.
But they kept the name Atlas, which I guess makes sense.
It's like a new generation of Atlas, building on that history.
Exactly.
So the CEO, Robert Plater, is talking about how they've focused on specific use cases for Atlas now.
Okay.
And they're going to be pilot testing it with Hyundai.
Hyundai.
Yeah.
Interesting. So like industrial applications?
Industrial, yeah.
Right.
And it's got these custom actuators that give it this incredible strength and agility.
And it's got those three-fingered hands now, right?
Yeah.
Three-fingered? Yeah.
Built to last, even in those tough industrial settings. And check this out. It's got a big round screen on its head.
Oh, wow.
It almost looks friendly.
A host.
I know.
The video they released is amazing. So it's lying on its stomach, and then it stands up and just walks away. So smooth.
Wow, that's cool.
Natural movement. It's incredible to see how far they've come.
I can't wait to see what they do with it next. Okay, for something completely different, let's look at LG's adorable new home robot. This little guy is designed to be your smart companion and, you know, just make life easier.
So it's a cute face, but it's actually
but it's
a lot more.
Yeah, it's way more than
Just
just
a cute face.
A cute face. I mean, it can navigate your house, keep an eye on things, check on your pets, even understand your mood. It's like they call it a moving smart home hub.
Oh, wow.
I know.
And it really lives up to that name.
Yeah, so it connects and controls all your smart devices, so it can, you know, turn things off when you don't need them, patrol for, like, open windows or lights left on, and it monitors, like, temperature, humidity, air quality, the whole 9 yards.
Wow. So it's like a little butler running around.
It is. It's like a little butler.
I like that.
Yeah, so it can also monitor your pets while you're away and, like, you know, send you live video feeds. But what really sets this thing apart is its social intelligence.
Social intelligence?
So, like, it greets you at the door.
Oh.
It recognizes your emotions from, like, your facial expressions and your voice.
Oh, wow.
And it can even, like, play music based on your mood.
Wow, so it's reading the room.
It's totally reading the room. I saw a demo where it reminded someone to take their medication. Super helpful. But I gotta say, like, the idea of a robot constantly monitoring my home and my pets, it's a little bit, I don't know.
A little weird.
A little weird, yeah.
It does raise those questions about privacy and, you know, how comfortable we are with technology just being that ingrained in our lives.
Totally.
But I don't think there's any doubt that these types of robots, home robots, are going to become way more common. It's like, you know...
It's a glimpse into the future
of
home automation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's go back to the world of AGI and a company called Sanctuary AI. They're making some pretty big promises. So they're on this mission to create human-like intelligence in robots, like robots that can do anything.
Right, anything.
Anything and everything. So they've put together this all-star team, people from like D-Wave, Kindred, Amazon, and they just announced a huge partnership with Microsoft.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's going to give them access to Azure's like cloud computing power, which is insane.
Huge.
Yeah. So they're using all of this to develop what they're calling large behavior models, LBMs. These are AI systems that learn from real world experience, which is, you know, crucial if you want to achieve AGI, right? And their latest robot, the 7th generation Phoenix, is already showing some pretty impressive advancement.
Oh, wow.
So they've improved its uptime, its visual and tactile perception is even better, it's even more dexterous. It's incredible how much progress they've made in just 11 months, from the 6th generation to this one.
Wow, it's fast.
I know, and get this, they claim they can now automate new tasks in less than 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy.
That is impressive.
I know, it's mind-blowing speed. I mean, it's super exciting to think about all the possibilities, but then you also think about, like, the ethical implications of, you know, creating such advanced AI.
Right. And they've acknowledged that, and they've said that they're committed to responsible development, focusing on augmenting human workers, not replacing them.
Okay. So
which is, I think, reassuring.
That's reassuring.
Yeah.
It is. This technology has so much potential, but we've got to use it wisely, right?
We do. It's a reminder that we need to be thoughtful about how we develop and integrate these technologies into society.
Okay, let's talk about Unitree, this company that's making some serious waves with their affordable and ridiculously capable humanoid robots. So their latest, it's called the G1, and this thing's a game changer.
It is. The G1 is incredibly flexible. It can move in ways that are almost impossible for humans. And the best part is it starts at $166,000.
I mean,
You're not going to find another robot
that's unheard of.
with those capabilities.
Yeah, for a robot with these capabilities at that price.
It's unheard of.
It kind of reminds me of the Boston Dynamics Atlas, but way more affordable. which means
Very
that
more accessible, yeah.
more researchers and developers can get their hands on it.
Exactly, exactly. That's what they're going for. They want to make this tech more accessible and accelerate the pace of innovation in robotics.
So I was looking at the videos and I was blown away. This thing is like crazy flexible. It's got incredible stability and it's fast.
Super fast.
They even showed it, like taking a punch to the chest without falling over.
I saw that and I was like, most robots would be on the floor.
On the floor.
If they got hit like that. But the G1, like the design, the balance control, top notch.
Yeah.
And they've done this without external support cables.
Yeah, right. So
which is a big,
huge accomplishment.
yeah, it's a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
And this thing can reach speeds of over 3 meters per second.
Yeah, that's like,
Which is basically running for a robot. That's insane.
I know.
And they're using like simulation and imitation learning to teach it new skills really fast.
So smart. Train it in a virtual environment and then transfer those skills to the actual physical robot.
Right.
It's so much faster that way.
Yeah. Okay. Also, I was really impressed with the G1's hands.
Yeah, the dexterity.
The dexterity.
Huge step up from their previous robots.
Yeah, they showed it crushing walnuts, flipping bread,
Really?
even opening a soda can.
Oh, I know. So it's got these really precise movements thanks to something called the Unitree Robot Unified Large Model. Sounds like some kind of advanced AI system.
It does.
That helps the robot like perform these tasks autonomously. So it's not just about the hardware, it's about the brains behind it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the G1 is really pushing the boundaries of what's possible in robotics.
It is, and I'm excited to see what they come up with next.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's shift our focus to the United Arab Emirates. Now they're not traditionally known for robotics,
Right.
but they're making a big push to become a major player in the AI world.
Yeah, it's really interesting that they've been very reliant on oil.
Right.
And now they're diversifying and putting a lot of resources into AI, which I think is a really smart move, recognizing the transformative potential of the technology.
Right. So they just launched this Falcon 2 series, which includes these two like really impressive AI models.
Yeah.
Falcon 211B, that's focused on like understanding and generating text like a human, and then Falcon 211B VLM, which can create like detailed descriptions of images. Pretty cool.
That's huge. That's a big step for the UAE.
Yeah, and they partnered with Microsoft after cutting ties with Chinese companies.
Wow.
So they're collaborating with some big names.
Yeah.
And what's also interesting is that they've made the Falcon models open source.
Oh, wow.
So anyone can use and build upon them.
That's interesting. That's different from some companies that are really protective of their technology,
Yeah.
keeping it in-house.
Yeah, totally.
This open approach could actually really lead to a lot more collaboration and accelerate innovation in AI.
It seems like they're really serious about becoming a force in the AI world.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what they come up with next.
Me too. They're definitely shaking things up.
They're shaking things up. Okay, so let's talk about RobotEra. This company is making a name for themselves with their unique approach to something called embodied AI. So this is all about robots that can like interact with the real world in a human-like way.
Right.
So they've unveiled this new robot called XND.
Oh, yeah.
It's got 12 active degrees of freedom, allows for like this wide range of movement.
Wow.
And it's equipped with built-in tactile sensors, so it can actually feel things.
Wow.
And they're saying that all the technology behind XND is completely self-developed, which is pretty impressive for a relatively new company.
Yeah, it really speaks to their ambition and their technical capabilities.
Yeah.
They're clearly focused on building robots that can function in the real world, and they're making some really good progress.
Speaking of RobotEra, they just accomplished something pretty incredible. They're the first company to have a full-size humanoid robot walk on the Great Wall of China.
No way.
Yes.
The Great Wall of China.
I know.
Wow, how did
Their XBOTL robot. Oh, wow.
navigated the uneven pathways and the steep stairs?
I mean, that's a challenge even for humans, right?
Yeah.
Uneven terrain.
It's crazy. So they're saying their reinforcement learning algorithms are what make it possible. So the robot's adapting to its environment in real time. It's identifying obstacles. It's adjusting its gait to stay balanced.
That kind of adaptability is going to be so essential for robots that need to work in complex environments.
Yeah.
Like that real world stuff.
Yeah, the real world. I mean, it's amazing to see how it handles like challenging terrain.
Yeah.
Slopes, stairs, obstacles, and, no human guidance.
It's amazing. really speaks to their focus on embodied AI,
Yeah.
building robots that have those human-like capabilities that allow them to actually operate in the real world.
Okay, let's get a little bit more serious for a second. So some whistleblowers at OpenAI have been raising concerns about the potential risks of AGI, artificial general intelligence,
Right.
right? And they're saying that the company's pursuit of AGI is moving too fast. Too fast. Yeah.
And that, like, safety protocols are being ignored.
It's a really important reminder that there's potential downsides to this technology.
Yeah.
So the whistleblowers are claiming that OpenAI is prioritizing progress over safety and suppressing internal dissent.
So one of these whistleblowers is Ilya Sutskever.
Right. Well-respected AI researcher.
Yeah, I mean, he left OpenAI because of these concerns, so it kind of lends some weight to their claims, right?
Yeah.
So they're calling for more transparency, protection for employees who speak out, and they're even saying that we need government regulations to ensure that AGI is developed responsibly.
It's a really important conversation to be having, especially as AI gets more powerful.
Yeah.
You know, we need to think carefully about the potential consequences.
Yeah.
Make sure that we're putting safeguards in place.
It's a reminder that the pursuit of these technological advancements has to be balanced with a sense of responsibility.
Absolutely. We need to be mindful of the potential impacts on society and work together to make sure that AI is developed and used ethically.
This is just the beginning of the conversation, and it's one we really need to have openly and honestly as we move forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a delicate balance, right?
Yeah.
Pushing those limits, but also making sure that we're doing it the right way.
It's not just about, like, cool robots anymore. It's about, like, the future that we're building.
Right.
So we've seen robots that can draw, play games, go to space, read minds. I mean, it's been a crazy ride so far.
It really has.
What'd you say?
Absolutely. And like you said, I think we're just scratching the surface
Yeah.
of what's possible with all of this.
So let's take a minute, like, step back. What are some of the biggest takeaways for you from all these advancements, all this stuff we've been looking at?
Well, one of the things that I find so fascinating is just how many different approaches there are to AI and robotics. You've got some companies like Engineered Arts, they're really focused on making these robots that look and act like humans.
Like Ameca.
Like Ameca.
Yeah.
Right. And then you've got others like OpenAI with Neo, where it's more about what the robot can do, not necessarily how human it appears.
It's like there's no one right way to do this.
Exactly.
Right? Like, everyone's kind of experimenting and trying different things, and we get to see all these possibilities playing out.
It's really cool.
It's super cool. And it's not just the variety, it's also just how fast it's all happening.
Right.
Like, a few years ago, some of this stuff would have been, like, pure science fiction.
I know.
And now we've got robots doing, I mean, like, drawing, dancing, playing games, assisting with surgeries. I mean, the list goes on.
The list goes on and on.
What do you think is driving all this progress?
I think it's a few things. So we've got like so much more computing power now than we did even a few years ago. And then these new algorithms, these machine learning techniques, they're letting us do things with AI that, you know, we didn't think were possible before. Plus, there's just way more investment in AI and robotics now.
Yeah.
So, you know, money talks.
Your money talks. It's like everything's aligning to kind of like push this field forward.
It's exciting.
It's super exciting. Another thing that stood out to me is how, like, people are starting to really think about the ethical side of all this. Right? Like, it's not just, ooh, shiny robots. It's like, okay, as these things get more sophisticated, as they're more integrated into our lives, we have to think about what that means, like, for society as a whole, right? Like, what happens to jobs? What happens to, you know, there's all this talk about bias in AI algorithms and the possibility of AI being used for bad things. So it's not just about, like, avoiding the negatives. It's also about making sure that these technologies are being used to benefit everyone.
Everyone. Yeah.
Right, not just the select few.
Not just a select few. Equity and access, I think, are really important to be considering at this point.
Yeah, it's about making sure that AI is a force for good. Right?
Absolutely.
It's a huge resposibility.
It is.
And it feels like everyone's kind of starting to realize that now.
I think so. And that's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
We need to have these conversations now.
Yeah.
While this technology is developing.
Oh, it's still kind of early, you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we talked about all the cool stuff, all the exciting stuff, but what about the challenges? What are some of the things that, like, researchers and developers are still struggling with because it can't all be like smooth sailing, right?
No, definitely not. I think one of the biggest challenges is that the real world is messy. It's unpredictable. AI can do these amazing things in a controlled environment.
Yeah.
Like playing a game of chess or Go. But the real world is completely different.
Right. Like you can program a robot to like pick up a very specific object in a lab setting, but then what happens when that object's in a pile of clutter or someone bumps it?
Right.
Suddenly it's a whole different ball game, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So creating robots that can like truly interact with the physical world in a way that's like, kind of like a human can.
Yeah.
That's a really tough problem.
It is. They need to be able to perceive their surroundings, understand what they're seeing.
Yeah.
And then act accordingly.
So
hard.
It's like teaching a baby to walk and talk.
It is.
It takes a lot of like trial and error, right?
Yeah, a lot of trial and error.
So, and then there's the hardware.
Right.
Right? Like we've seen some crazy advancements in robot design.
We have.
But there's still work to do with durability, with dexterity,
yeah.
making robots that can function in all kinds of environments, right?
Like think about a robot working on a construction site.
Right, exactly.
It needs to be strong. It needs to be able to handle heavy objects.
Not fall apart when it gets dusty.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right. And then what about the AI itself? Like we keep hearing all this talk about like machine learning and deep learning.
Right.
But like how close are we really to creating AI that's like truly intelligent, like that can think like a human?
Yeah, that is the holy grail of AI research, right?
Yeah.
Artificial general intelligence, AGI.
AGI.
And while we've made these huge strides with machine learning, those systems are still pretty limited. They need tons of data.
Right.
They're not great with things that require like common sense reasoning.
On creativity.
Or creativity.
Right. It's like the difference between like a calculator that can crunch numbers and a mathematician that can like understand abstract concepts.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think creating AGI, it's a monumental task. We need some major breakthroughs in how we understand the human brain and how to replicate that in machines.
So we're not quite there yet, but it sounds like we're on the right track.
I think so. All of these advancements in hardware, software, AI, they're all coming together in really exciting ways.
Yeah.
And, we're creating these robots that are so much more capable and sophisticated than anything we've seen before.
Yeah.
So who knows, maybe AGI is closer than we think.
It's a future, definitely a future full of possibilities, good and bad.
Right.
And it's up to us to make sure that we're using all this wisely, right?
Absolutely. Be aware of the potential risks, but also optimistic about the potential benefits. AI and robotics have this power to solve some of the world's biggest challenges.
Yeah.
And I think that's something worth striving for.
I totally agree. Okay, so we've talked about the advancements, the challenges, the ethics, the whole AGI thing, but I want to take a minute to geek out a little bit about the real-world applications of all this.
Yeah.
Because this isn't just theory. This is stuff that's already making a difference in people's lives.
It is. AI and robotics are having a huge impact already.
Yeah.
Across so many different fields.
Like healthcare. Right. Like I've seen those videos of robots like assisting with surgery, delivering medications, even providing companionship to patients.
It's not about replacing doctors and nurses. It's about giving them tools to provide better care.
Yeah.
Like surgical robots, those can perform these minimally invasive procedures with incredible precision.
So faster recovery for patients.
Faster recovery, fewer complications.
Fewer complications, yeah.
Amazing.
And I've heard about like robots that can help like lift and move patients, which is huge for nurses. Right?
Huge, especially with so many healthcare workers overworked, understaffed.
Yeah.
So it really frees them up to focus on things that require that human touch.
Yeah. What about manufacturing? I mean, robots have been used in factories for a while.
Right.
But it seems like AI is like taking things to a whole other level.
Yeah, for sure. AI is making these robots way more versatile, way more adaptable. So they can do things like welding, painting, assembly, quality control, and they can do it really fast.
Really fast.
Really accurately.
Yeah, I saw this video of a robot that was picking and packing items in a warehouse. It was insane.
I know, it's amazing how fast they can move.
It was mesmerizing.
Yeah, and those robots are becoming like essential for companies, right? If they want to keep up with demand, adapt to changing conditions. Plus, they can work 24/7.
They don't complain.
No complaints. They don't need breaks, you know.
But, I mean, that raises the question of jobs, right?
Of course.
Like, what happens when robots can do most of the jobs?
It's a valid concern, and it's one that I think we need to be thinking about very seriously.
Yeah.
It's not just about losing jobs. It's about, the potential for economic inequality.
Right.
If the benefits of automation aren't shared fairly.
So it's not just a technology problem, it's a societal problem.
Exactly.
We've got to figure that out.
Yeah.
Speaking of advancements, I am so excited about self-driving cars.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine, like, no more traffic jams.
No more traffic jams.
No more accidents caused by, like, people texting and driving. It's going to change everything.
It's a game changer for sure. And self-driving trucks, delivery robots, we're seeing that being tested already.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time before it's just like commonplace.
Yeah. It's not just about convenience either, right? It's about efficiency. It's about safety.
Yeah.
It's a win-win for everyone.
And it's not just about the cars themselves. It's also about the AI behind the scenes,
right.
Like optimizing logistics, supply chains,
Yeah. Smarter route planning.
Yeah.
Inventory management, all that.
It's crazy.
More efficient delivery systems.
So it's really changing the way we move things around the world.
Exactly.
It's amazing to see how this stuff is like touching so many aspects of our lives.
That is this.
Like we're just at the beginning
Yeah.
of this like technological revolution, right?
It's both it's exciting and scary.
And a little daunting.
Yeah, it's like, whoa.
Okay.
I've got to admit, I've been like totally geeking out on all the technical stuff.
Yeah.
But there's another side to this whole AI thing that I find totally fascinating.
What's that?
The philosophical side.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Like creating machines that can think and learn like humans.
Yeah.
It brings up these really deep questions about what it means to be intelligent.
What it means to be conscious.
What consciousness is, even what it means to be human.
Right.
It's like we're trying to understand ourselves better.
Yeah.
By creating these like artificial versions of ourselves.
I love that. I love that point.
It's kind of trippy when you think about it.
Yeah, and philosophers have been debating for centuries whether machines can actually think and feel.
Right.
And now that AI is getting so sophisticated,
yeah,
that conversation is even more relevant.
Right.
It's so relevant.
And then, like, what happens to humanity
Right.
when machines can do most of the work?
Yep.
I mean, it's a question we've been asking since, like, the Industrial Revolution, right?
Right.
But AI is bringing it to a whole other level.
A whole other level, yeah.
Right. It challenges our assumptions about, like, what is work?
Right.
What's the value of human skills?
That's our role in this future.
Yeah, what's our role?
Where machines can do so much.
Yeah. Big question.
Big questions. No easy answers.
No easy answers, but we can't ignore them.
Absolutely not. Because it's not just about the economics of it. It's about our values
right.
as a society.
Yeah.
What gives us a sense of purpose and fulfillment if machines are doing most of the work?
Yeah.
What happens to our creativity?
Right.
What happens to our drive to innovate?
Those are the real questions we need to be thinking about.
I think so.
Right. And it's not just about the impact on like individuals. It's about society.
On society as a whole. How do we share the wealth?
Right.
How do we share the resources in a world where machines are doing a lot of the work?
Yeah. How do we make sure everyone benefits?
Right. Everyone benefits.
Not just a few. Right?
Not just a select few. Yeah.
These are, I mean, it's complicated stuff.
It is, but it's exciting.
But it is exciting to think about.
Yeah. We're really at a turning point, I think, in history.
Yeah.
And the decisions that we're making now are really going to shape the world for
generations to come.
Generations to come, yeah.
Whoa. Okay, I need to take a breath for a second.
I know, right? So much, we've covered so much today.
I feel like I need a robot to massage my brain.
Maybe we would need a little break.
Yeah.
But seriously, it's been a great conversation.
It has.
I'm so glad we could do this, dive into all this together.
Me too. But we're not done yet.
No.
There's still more to explore.
There is.
So join us for part 3,
yes.
where we'll wrap up our deep dive into this crazy world of AI and robotics.
Okay.
And leave you with some really thought-provoking questions to ponder as you continue your own journey of discovery. All right, welcome back to the final part of our AI and robotics deep dive.
I know, it's hard to believe we're already here.
I know, right? It's gone by so fast, but
time flies when you're having fun with robots.
It does. It really does. So we've explored these mind-blowing advancements, the challenges, the ethical stuff, the quest for AGI,
It's been quite a journey.
It has, but before we wrap things up,
Okay.
I want to leave our listeners with something, to really think about.
No.
So we've talked about like all the amazing things AI can do.
Right.
Potentially solve problems, make life better, but there's a flip side to that, right?
Right.
There are some real risks.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We can't just ignore those.
I can't just put on those rose-colored glasses and pretend it's all going to be perfect.
Exactly. So let's talk about that for a minute. Like if you had to pick, what would you say is the biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge
Facing AI and robotics right now.
I mean, that's a tough one.
Yeah. I know it's a big question, but
It is a big question, but I think one of the most important things is making sure that AI aligns with human values.
okay, what does that mean?
So right now, AI systems, they're mostly trained on data.
Right.
And that data, well, it can reflect our biases, our prejudices, our limitations as humans.
Right. I mean, we've seen examples of like algorithms perpetuating discrimination or being used to spread like fake news.
Disinformation.
Disinformation, yeah. I mean, that's kind of a scary thought.
It can be. And that's why it's so important to make sure that these systems are fair, that they're transparent, and that they're accountable. We need to understand how they work. We need to be able to kind of look under the hood and make sure that they're not doing things that are going to cause harm.
It's like we're building these incredibly powerful tools.
Yeah.
But we're still figuring out like the instruction manual.
Yeah, we're still reading the manual for sure.
Right. Like how to use them safely.
How to use them ethically.
Ethically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge responsibility.
It is a huge responsibility. And I think it's not just on scientists and engineers to figure this out.
It got to be everyone.
We need everyone involved.
Right.
Policymakers, ethicists, social scientists, everyday people.
Yeah.
We all need to be part of this conversation.
It's about making sure AI benefits all of us.
All of us.
Not just, the select few.
Exactly, yeah. And that means thinking about things like access,
right,
equity, the impact on jobs,
right,
the economy.
Yeah, it's a big task.
It is a big task, but
an important one.
An important one, absolutely.
Yeah.
We can't just ignore it.
So, okay, we've got these big challenges, right?
We do.
But we also have this incredible opportunity to use AI for good.
To make the world a better place.
Right. Like what are some of the ways you see AI actually making a positive impact in the future?
I mean, the possibilities are they're mind-blowing, right? So imagine AI helping us to develop new treatments for diseases like cancer, Alzheimer's, or AI, helping us to create these personalized education plans that really cater to each student's individual needs.
Yeah, that's awesome. What about using AI to like fight climate change?
Oh, absolutely.
I've heard about projects like using AI to optimize energy grids or come up with new sustainable technologies.
Right, or helping us to predict and prevent natural disasters, or figuring out how to grow enough food to feed a growing population.
Right. I mean, the possibilities really are kind of endless.
They really are.
It feels like we're on the verge of something really big.
Yeah.
Like a revolution almost.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But, I think it's important to remember that technology is a tool.
Right.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. It really depends on the choices that we make.
Right. It's not the technology itself, it's how we use it.
It's how we use it.
That matters.
Exactly.
So we can't just kind of sit back and let technology decide the future.
We have to be active participants.
Right.
In shaping the future that we want.
Exactly. It's up to all of us, right?
I think so.
To have these tough conversations, to ask the hard questions.
To challenge ourselves.
And to work together.
To
make sure that we're using this stuff wisely, right?
Absolutely. It's a challenge, but it's also, I think, an incredible opportunity.
Yeah.
To really create a better world.
So as we kind of come to the end of this deep dive here, I want to leave everyone with this thought.
Okay.
We've explored all these advancements, the challenges, the potential of AI and robotics.
Right.
But the biggest takeaway for me is this. The future isn't predetermined.
It's not set in stone.
It's not set in stone. It's a future that we're all creating together.
While writing this story together.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, keep imagining those possibilities.
Yeah, the future is ours to shape.
It's been an amazing journey.
It has.
And thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Until next time.
See you later.